I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about why your avoidant partner gives up. You know, it's so frustrating when you really care about and love somebody and they have an avoidant attachment style, but they're so quick to walk away from a situation that they find the situation just so helpless, and they have all these beliefs about why it can't work out, and then they walk away from you. So it's confusing when it happens to you because you see all these good qualities in this person and you really believe in them in a lot of ways, but they don't seem to believe in themselves. And that's part of the reason that people give up and walk away. So I want to talk about this today because if you're in a situation where you were dating someone with more of an avoidant attachment style, you're going to feel scared, frustrated, confused, disappointed, overwhelmed, and just constantly having this desire to fix it with them. Like, you have this belief, like, if they would only work at it with me, we could make this better. And I'm sure many of you have been feeling that way because I know what that feels like, to want somebody just to give a little bit more. And you're wondering, why are they walking away? Why won't they give it a little bit more? You know, what's going on with this person? Am I going to hear from them again? Are they going to completely disappear? Are they going to ghost me? I mean, what's happening? So I got a good email coaching today that's going to talk about the stuff that you might be seeing if you were dating an avoidant. Now, you got to look at avoidant and secure and even anxious. Now, when you're considering somebody and their attachment issues, it's not set in stone. So not everybody is the same amount of avoidant. Everybody grew up in different homes and has different experiences and neglects and traumas that got them to that place, right? So just understand that some avoidants are more severe than others. And in this situation, we're going to see some pretty severe avoidant behavior, and I'm going to explain why as we go through it. So this couple has actually been together for 3.5 years, and they're both in their early to mid 40s. Now, they broke up earlier this year, and he said it was due to differences. How many of you heard that from your avoidant partner? It was differences. We're too different. If you did, leave a comment. I want to see how many people experience that. He hadn't been loving or caring anymore, and I had arranged counseling to help us understand each other and work towards a happy future as we plan to marry. All right, so you could see that her arranging counseling, an avoidant in many cases is not going to think counseling's going to work. They'll say things like, oh, counseling's not going to work. It's not going to help. I'm going to pay a stranger to help me with my problems. All kinds of things like that. Unfortunately, there's a lot going on with them. You know, I think their ego is feeling bruised, like there's something wrong with them. And in a desperate attempt to keep them from feeling like there's something wrong with them, they won't go to counseling. It's like the avoidant has such low self-esteem that they can't possibly take on anything wrong with them, right? And it's like the further they are avoidant, the more they're injured and traumatized that they have to live in a denial, okay? And when you start heading that direction with the mental health, you're going to see a lot of unhealthy behaviors come out. So I think the idea of going to counseling for her was like, yeah, I want to fix this. And for him, it's like, something's wrong with me. I know they're going to tell me something's wrong with me, and I don't want to hear it. But just days before counseling, he bailed and ended the relationship, saying he didn't want counseling and our issues are all my fault. Oh, thanks, buddy. That's a great feeling. You're ending the relationship and it's all my fault? Wonderful news. That's so awful to hear because you're going to believe it, right? You're going to believe that. You're going to think, oh my gosh, he's leaving me and I did something. And he's perfect and no faults, whereas I have many. This is what I'm talking about. Avoidants like this are so wounded, they cannot see any faults within themselves. They have to blame you. Okay? He's in denial that he's done anything wrong. He's taking no responsibility for himself. He sounds like a politician. And so now you're going to see some projection. Okay? He's already doing it. That it was all her fault. What I think he's really saying is, it's all my fault. Now, he's not saying that. He's saying it's all your fault. But me, as a therapist doing this for a long time, I know what he's really doing here. These are the things that he's projecting. I see projection coming out all the time in the calls where you guys will be telling me something that's going on with your ex, and I'm like, hold on. Let's dig deeper here. He wanted to remain friends. I went to counseling on my own to deal with that breakup. I made no contact for 4 months, then text him just to say I was hurt by what he said. Well, I don't know if your counselor encouraged you to do that, but it's not going to help turn things around, okay? I know you're hurting, but I recommend you process that and heal that on your own, especially if you're wanting to repair things with him. He begged to come over and talk. Here's kind of what I tell you guys. He was waiting for me to contact him. Now, they had gone 4 months. And what do I tell you guys all the time? That's like kind of the minimum for these avoidants. He probably would have reached out within the next 2 months. That is my prediction. And the dynamic would have been a lot better because you would have had a lot more leverage. But you lost a lot of leverage because you broke no contact. And if you don't believe me, watch what happens, okay? Because he was waiting for me to contact him. Watch. He told me I should, and you know what I think about should, okay? We've talked about that before. Should is like he's kind of saying that you did it wrong. Because you didn't reach out sooner, you were doing it wrong. You should have done this. He told me I should have contacted him sooner. No, you should have not contacted him at all. Okay? Especially when you see how this plays out. And not waited so long. And he really missed me and couldn't stop thinking about me. So there you have it, guys. What do I tell you guys all the time? Even the avoidant, look at what the avoidant says. He was waiting for her to contact him. She should have done it sooner. He couldn't stop thinking about me. He really missed me. Now, had she not reached out, he would have reached out in a couple of months. I've been doing this a long time. I'm sure of it. But she loses all her leverage. And let's see how this plays out. This is why I tell you guys, don't break no contact. He has so many good memories. He still loved me. There you have it, guys. 4 months later, he still loved me, thinking about me every day, missing me all the time. And he couldn't see himself with anyone else. He wasn't seeing anyone, but also asked me if I was seeing anyone. See, look at what's happening. He is anxious about losing her and no contact. But what does she do? She breaks no contact. I don't care what the reason is. This is what happens when you do it. She couldn't take the process of no contact, and so she wanted to connect with him and say that she was hurt and angry by what he had done, which I would not have recommended. What I've said to do is stay focused on the creative healing course and the workbooks, which would have helped process this a lot easier for you, and you would have been a lot less likely to reach out here, because it's gonna fall apart fast here. Watch this. He wasn't seeing anyone, but also asked me if I was seeing anyone. I said no. So what do you think happened there? She says no, and now that fear of losing her is gone. She's reached out. Now he knows he's not going to lose her to someone else. It's all going back in his favor. He's immediately got all the power back here. You don't see it, but I do. At the end, he asked if we could get back together. I said I couldn't go back to the way it was. Could you be more loving and caring? That's a very reasonable request. Unfortunately, because you gave a lot of your power away by reaching out here and telling him you're not seeing anyone else, watch this. And counseling would help us to have a solid future of happiness together. Now, I agree that you do need counseling, and he really needs counseling. However, because you gave all your leverage away, watch what happens. The next week he came over to talk, and he was angry and nasty. A different person. Why? Because now his ego is hurt. There's something wrong with me. You want me to change something about myself. There's nothing wrong with me. The problem is you. I know it's already what he's thinking. I could already feel it. He said he changed his mind and didn't want to be together, that counseling won't work. How many of you have heard that from your avoidant? And the relationship will fail in a couple of years, so there's no point. He didn't want to waste any more years on me. Look at all these beliefs he has wrapped up in just a few sentences. It's not going to work. The relationship's going to fail. I'm going to be wasting my time here. I'm not going to waste any more of my years. All of these have to do with his beliefs. And then he's got to really work through this. Until he does, all his relationships are going to fail because he believes they're all going to fail. But he still loved me and wants to be friends. Oh, thank you. You want to be friends with somebody who was so terrible to you that the relationship was all their fault? You're so kind and thoughtful. He's happy for me to date other guys. Brutal. Yeah, it hurts so much to hear somebody say stuff like this. You want to be friends? You're okay with me dating other people? That is the last thing you want to hear from somebody. It broke my heart again. I said, friends is hard for me, but I want to keep communication open so that he can contact me anytime while I heal and I'm ready. We had no contact for 5 weeks. Then I got a random message. I just wanted to say, I've met someone in life and moved on. All the best to you. Don't you just feel sorry for this next woman? Now, those of you that are going through this are thinking about her. I feel sorry for both of them, of course, but this guy is not in a healthy place, and his attitude towards relationships is really bad. She said, this broke my heart a third time. It was cruel and final. After telling me 5 weeks ago he still loved me and wanted me back, he quickly met a serious life partner in 5 weeks and had moved on to tell me. Yeah, that's pretty horrible. I'm going to get into why I think he did this in a minute. She said, rebound maybe? We don't have mutual friends, so I don't know if it's true. I don't know why he needed to tell me this, as I hadn't been bugging him. It was like he was trying to hurt or punish me. I didn't reply. I don't understand what's been happening with him. He loved me and wanted me back 1 week, changed his mind and didn't want to waste any more years on me the next week. Then sends a random text bragging he's met his life partner and has moved on 5 weeks like he hated me and I didn't exist anymore. Of course, I hope he comes back to me, but I also know I need to heal. My question is, could you help me understand what's going on with him here? I'm so confused. I don't know what's happening and I can't sleep. Well, I think part of the issue here is he felt like you were attacking him again. And I'm not saying you did, because I wouldn't get back with this guy unless he was in therapy too. He doesn't have the skills to repair this. And he doesn't even see that he's part of the problem. It's too painful. It's too painful to think, I made mistakes, I hurt this, I ruined this. And so he just blames. He's just blaming you for all the mistakes that he's making. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that most of this is about him blaming her for what he struggled with. And I see a lot of people do stuff like this. He's almost telling you what's wrong with him unconsciously. He's telling on himself, but he doesn't realize it. And I think the reason that he reaches out here to tell you, I've met someone, I found a life partner, is because it's like kind of trying to prove to you, again, that he's not the one with the issues. Well, look, I found someone, I'm happy, and you're not, so that must mean the problem's you. Of course, I don't believe that for a second. And 5 weeks later, he thinks he's found his new soulmate? Give me a break. I'm going to drop some F-bombs. This is such BS. Okay? I don't believe this for a second. This guy is never going to last with this new person. There is no way. I say 95% chance it doesn't even get past 6 months. Okay? This guy is a disaster. Look at what he's saying and doing. But she gave up a lot of her leverage by reaching out to him. She would have had a lot more leverage to get him into therapy had she not reached out and chased him. And being so quick to repair this with him and give up all that information. All that anxiety that had been building up all that time that I tell you happens, we see it. I love it when avoidants say all the things that I tell you they're going to say, or tell you all the things that they're going through. This is a perfect example of it, because it came out like 5 different things. So yeah, this isn't confusing for me at all. He's hurting. He knows he's got issues, but he's got to put up these defenses and create this narrative to put the blame on you rather than to accept the pain and responsibility that he caused by refusing to act like an adult and repair this like an adult. And now, yeah, it is cruel that he did that. But if somebody did that to me, I'd be laughing. I'd be like, oh, you found someone, did you? I wouldn't say that to him, but I'd be laughing because 5 weeks. It's only been 5 weeks since they talked. And he said he wasn't seeing anybody at that time. So chances are he's probably only been talking to this new person for 3 weeks. So leave him alone. Don't reach out again. And if he does come back again, you're going to have to really say, look, every time I mention bringing up therapy, you shut down and don't want to repair things. And I might try and think of some open-ended questions to ask him that maybe gets him to talk about his view on therapy, and maybe try and get him to see some different aspects or components of why it might be helpful. But I think he would have to acknowledge that it can be helpful. But right now his belief is it isn't. And this is a high-risk situation for you because he isn't taking any responsibility or accountability here. He's just blaming you, right? And so if you get back together, what do you think is going to happen? It's just going to be this dynamic where everything is your fault, all the problems are because of you. And you won't be able to live like that. You'll be miserable. and you'll be really unhappy. So you really need to make sure that this guy's doing some personal growth in the meantime. I hope you're doing the creative healing course or the workbooks. They're really going to help you a lot to deal with somebody like this, because quite honestly, it takes a lot of skills to date an avoidant. It takes a lot of emotional self-control. And that is what especially the creative healing course is going to do. There is so much in it that's going to help you understand these things and navigate it, so that when you date somebody that struggles like this, because quite honestly, he may have a lot of good qualities, but there are some, when it comes to understanding the health of a relationship and having the skills to repair things, he really struggles with. So it's going to take a lot of patience to be with someone like him. And, you know, you were with the guy for 3+ years. You know him. You know, we didn't do a Skype together. We just did this email. So if you want to talk about it and talk about all the other things to the relationship that I don't know to help you navigate this, we can. But you can see here that the reason that he was so quick to give up is because he was taking it personal, and he doesn't want to take that personal. It's too painful for him to accept that there might be something wrong with him. And that is very early attachment stuff. All right, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you. And of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can get my creative healing course and my workbooks only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.